The Capitoline Museums are considered to be the oldest public museum in the world. The foundation dates to 1471, when Pope Sixtus IV donated to the people of Rome the ancient bronzes housed in the Lateran, which had aroused so much admiration and wonder over the previous centuries. Thus, the she-wolf, the spinario, the head of Constantine, and the Camillus were transferred to the seat of the civic magistrates in the Palazzo dei Conservatori in the Campidoglio. Throughout the 15th century, the culture of the city had revealed a growing interest in the evidence of its ancient past, which was reflected in antiquarian and collecting activities. Consequently, in the same period, the conservators began to purchase important antique sculptures for the Campidoglio, such as the Hercules in gilded bronze. In the early decades of the 16th century, these statues were housed inside the palazzo, in the statuary room, in the courtyard, and also in the outdoor portico. In 1566, Pope Pius V donated to the Roman people other statues from the Vatican collections, with the intention of purging the Vatican of pagan idols. From the drawings of the period, we can deduce that by the end of the 17th century, the palazzo must have been overflowing with works. These actually obstructed the civic magistrates, who had their seat in the premises, in the performance of their functions. The Palazzo Nuovo was not officially appointed as a museum until the 18th century. But even before this, it had for some decades housed statues originating from the Palazzo dei Conservatori. An extraordinary boost to the growth of the Capitoline collections came with the acquisition of the collection of Cardinal Alessandro Albani in 1733. Purchased by Pope Clement XII, this provided a major input to the creation of the Capitoline Museum in Palazzo Nuovo. During the papacy of Benedict XIV, important works came to the Campidoglio from Hadrian's villa in Tivoli, as well as the so-called Forma Urbis Romae, the plan of Rome engraved on marble dating to the age of Septimius Severus, a fundamental document for the study of the topography of the ancient city. Also in the time of Benedict XIV, in 1749, the Capitoline Picture Gallery was set up to avoid the two important collections belonging to the Roman families of the Sacchetti and the Pio of Savoy from being broken up and sold. The proclamation of Rome as capital of Italy in 1870 marked the start of a very fortunate season for Roman archaeology. Effectively, the excavations undertaken for the purpose of constructing residential areas or large buildings to serve as premises for the various ministries, enabled entire areas of the city to be newly explored. Thus there came to light many works which launched a new phase of acquisition for the Capitoline collections. Above all, the works in the areas of the Quirinal, Viminal and Esquiline hills threw up an enormous quantity of antique materials and topographical data. In fact, despite these areas being very close to the old city centre, they were characterised above all by the presence of villas with huge gardens, vineyards and orchards, and had consequently been largely unaffected by the different phases of settlement and construction. Consequently, at the end of the 19th century, the Capitoline Museum complex experienced a phase of profound transformation and expansion. The materials were reorganized in line with new criteria of museum layout, and the works were distributed for display in the various rooms. Finally, the most recent acquisition can be considered the bringing into the museum of the equestrian statue of Marcus Aurelius, which up until 1981 had stood in the piazza. Since 2005, it has been set up on permanent display in the glass hall specially constructed in the internal areas of the Palazzo dei Conservatori.